I was watching YouTube the other day and I come across this guy and he was talking about how one of the best ways to stay in shape and to lose weight is by doing what's called intermittent fasting, which is pretty popular now. But his take on it was that the most successful way to achieve an intermittent fast, where you will actually burn the most amount of fat off of your body, is to basically not eat for 20 hours. Pretty much I'm a natural intermittent faster. Like, I don't particularly care to eat in the morning. And I know everyone that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I have a syndrome called step on your foot and your mouth opens. The minute I start eating, the lid stays open. I just can't stop. So the later I wait to eat, the less I eat. I eat from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I don't eat all day. And you work your way up to it. And I intermittently fast for 20 hours every day for 5 days a week. And on my days off, I start eating at noon. It just works for me. The other thing that works for me is not eating grains. When I don't eat grains, I just do really, really well. And today, like, I'm thinking, what am I gonna eat? And I'm gonna make a big salad, and I'm trying to think of my protein. Now, I really like seafood, but seafood can be healthy for you, can't be, depends on what fish you eat. And sardines are really healthy for you because they don't get exposed to heavy metals, they eat plankton. The other fish that is kind of neglected is really good for you, calamari or octopus. And calamari is a little easier to get than octopus. When you buy fresh calamari, a lot of people complain that it's rubbery. But I have a trick that really helps me make calamari very tender.
Start by getting your calamari from a fish market. Nowadays, you can pretty much buy it clean. Most of the time, you're gonna buy it fresh and whole, which is a little tricky to clean. But either way, whatever calamari you choose to serve, pretty much buy double what you think you're gonna need because it's gonna shrink. When you wanna tenderize meat, if you want it to get soft, and you definitely do not wanna overdo it, you take a whole pineapple, put it in a food processor, blend it up, outside skin and everything, put it on your meat, let it sit for no more than 2 hours if you want to tenderize it. It's also going to discolor it a little bit, so you got to be careful with that. It almost makes it look like it's been boiled. So I would only use it on meats that, you know, that are pretty tough cuts, like maybe a London broil for a little while. Something you plan on broiling afterward just to kind of get the color consistent. But here today, what we're going to use is just canned pineapple. And we're going to add it, and the minute you add it, the timer starts. So you add it to your calamari, mix it in just like that. Just pop it in the refrigerator. This I would not do more than an hour. What it's gonna do, it's gonna soften the calamari, it's gonna tenderize it. It's really good. The bromelain in fresh pineapple is a lot stronger than the bromelain in canned pineapple. If you were to put fresh pineapple in this and let it sit for an hour, this would become like a soup. I'm gonna start prepping our salad. This is what my local farm stand had. This is what I'm gonna use. Just some green and red bell peppers, cucumbers, tomatoes, onions, celery. It's kind of what I make in my restaurant. It's called a horiatiki salad, which means a country style salad. Now, Greeks normally don't put celery in their salad, but I like the brightness and I like the texture that's in it. You can put in whatever you'd like. So to my salad, I'm gonna put 2 tomatoes, 1 cucumber, half a red pepper, half a green pepper, a couple stalks of celery, and half an onion. We have a nice bright medley of vegetables here, and to that I'm gonna add some crumbled feta. You don't have to add crumbled feta to yours. You can add no cheese at all. You can add halloumi cheese, you could add cheddar cheese, whatever cheese you really want you could add to. You can even add manchego. Basically, you're gonna have to figure out what cheese you want and how much you're gonna want, because basically it has to be as salty as you want it to be. That is one of the problems. That feta cheese is sometimes salty, sometimes it's not. Give this a little bit of a stir. Mixing all the feta in it. And now, this is a pre-made dressing. I have a video on this dressing. It's a simple red wine vinegar, olive oil, salt, oregano, pepper dressing. The link is up below. If you want, you can go to my website. The recipe's there as well. And I'm just gonna add some dressing to this. Calamari is a really lean fish, and I like to keep my fat content up. So I added a lot of olive oil to this. Just mix it up. Go ahead and add a liberal amount of olive oil to your pan. And you want to monitor the temperature of this because you want to sear this calamari off, and the calamari is going to release an enormous amount of water, which is unfortunate, but that's what it does. So you got to make sure that your pan is good and hot. And when you add the calamari to it, it's going to splatter. So you're going to definitely need to have one of these splatter guards to protect yourself and keep the mess from going all over the place. I use this to monitor the temperature. It's an infrared thermometer, and I check it. And I won't add my calamari to this until that oil hits 350 degrees. You also want to make sure that your calamari is really, really dry as you can get it. After you rinse off the pineapple, you want to make sure that there's as little moisture on the calamari as possible. I got my flame here on high. I'm going to monitor that. Let's take a look at that so you can see how much calamari is in there and how much is actually going to be left over when it's done. Not to be at least half. And from this, I want to get some char on there. So it's very hard to do in a pan, and there's a lot of liquid in there, so I'm going to drain some of that out. Add a little bit more oil to that because I drained it out. And I'm just going to taste and see how it's done. At this point, it's almost completely done. It's time to season it. I'm not going to go too crazy with the seasoning on this. Just going to add some pepper. I'm going to add a little bit of salt because it's absolutely amazing to me. It blows my mind away how soft the pineapple actually makes protein. See, now it's starting to get a little bit of color. I don't want it to overcook. To this, I'm just going to add a little bit of wine and let that burn off just to give it a little aromatic. Just a nice, simple protein. You don't have to use calamari if you don't want to. You can use any kind of fish, like a piece of grilled swordfish would be great, or beef, or if you're vegan, no meat at all. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. Please hit that subscribe button, spread the love by sharing this on social media, and we'll see you again real soon next week.